Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host.
And I'm your expert guide for today's exploration.
Today, we're getting into something quite specific. We're looking at a script for an English learning episode aimed at beginners. It's from a show called Fluent Flow. Practice English out loud.
Right. And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is really to unpack that. We want to understand the methods, the approach, kind of the thinking behind this particular script.
Yeah, how does this specific text actually aim to help beginners get better at speaking and listening? That's the question we're tackling.
And crucially, we're sticking just to the source material you shared. No outside theories today.
Exactly. We're analyzing the method presented in the script itself. What does it tell us? What does it instruct the listener to do?
It's about digging into the structure, the exercises, the explicit instructions, and maybe some of the implied goals too, seeing what kind of learning methodology it lays out.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation. How does this script frame itself? What's its basic philosophy according to the text?
Well, right off the bat, it calls itself an English class for beginners. Pretty straightforward.
But then it adds something, doesn't it? It wants to feel like a real classroom, yeah, but also more fun and friendly.
That combination is interesting, right? It suggests they know a traditional class can maybe feel a bit stiff or intimidating.
Yeah, like they're acknowledging the learning structure, but trying to take the edge off. The fun and friendly part seems deliberately added to counteract maybe some negative associations with class.
It definitely suggests an awareness of learner anxiety. Beginners often feel judged or stressed, so promising fun and friendly up front seems like a direct attempt to lower those barriers.
And the script is super clear about what it wants the listener to achieve. It lists the goals. Speak out loud, improve your listening, and feel more confident in English.
Those three things: speak, listen, feel confident. It's a neat triangle, isn't it? Output, input, and the psychological side.
It really is. It's not just about knowing stuff. It's about doing stuff and feeling okay about doing it. That confidence piece feels huge for beginners.
Absolutely. Confidence can be so fragile when you're starting out. Addressing it directly alongside the skills seems like a really smart move if you want people to stick with the practice.
The script even describes the intended tone of the speaker, the host, in the original Fluent Flow episode.
Yeah. What does it say there?
It says the voice should be clear, patient, teacher-like, but warm, relaxed, and encouraging.
Okay, so again, that blend, teacher-like, gives it authority, credibility. You trust the instruction.
Right, but the warm, relaxed, encouraging part softens it, makes it approachable.
And in an audio format where you might be practicing alone, that encouraging voice is basically your main feedback loop, isn't it? It has to create that safe space to try things out.
Which ties right into something else that jumped out at me. The script puts a massive emphasis on removing pressure, like right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, what does it say exactly?
The first instructions include this line, but no stress, no pressure, just relax and repeat. It's stated very directly.
Wow, okay. So that's not just a side comment, it's like a foundational rule for the listener.
Exactly. And putting it right there, up front, tells you a lot about what they think the biggest problem is for their target audience.
It implies that the fear of speaking, the stress of making mistakes, that's the main hurdle they need to tackle immediately, before any real learning can happen almost.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, look, we know this is hard or scary for some of you. It's okay. Lower the stakes.
It's basically giving permission to just try without that fear of judgment, either external or internal, which is powerful.
Especially if you're practicing alone with just the audio guide. Like you said, the social anxiety is gone. The teacher is programmed to be patient.
Right. It shifts the focus from performing perfectly to just practicing, repeating, getting the reps in.
And building on that low-pressure start, the script focuses on real, simple, everyday language. It's not starting with complex grammar.
Which makes perfect sense, doesn't it? If you want people to speak quickly and build confidence, you use language they can actually use now.
Simple greetings, basic feelings, stuff you need right away.
Exactly. It reduces the mental effort. You're not wrestling with complicated rules. You're just learning useful chunks of language you can deploy almost immediately. That gives you quick wins.
And those quick wins probably feed back into the confidence goal. You say good morning, and someone understands, hey, this works.
Precisely. It creates a positive feedback loop, reinforcing the idea that I can speak English, even if it's just simple phrases to start.
So let's connect this back to you, the listener. If you're someone who's just starting English, or maybe you've learned some, but you're hesitant to actually speak, why might this whole approach be useful?
Well, think about it. If the idea of speaking makes you freeze up, or if grammar books feel overwhelming, this script's philosophy seems custom-made to address that.
It's like a gentle on-ramp.
Exactly. It removes the pressure, focuses on language you can use today, and makes the whole act of speaking seem less like a high-stakes test and more like just a manageable activity, maybe even fun, like they said.
It's designed to get your voice moving, basically, to break that initial inertia and fear.
Which, honestly, for a lot of beginners, overcoming that initial hump is maybe the biggest challenge. This approach seems very aware of that.
Okay, that gives us a really good sense of the thinking behind the script. Now let's get practical. How does it actually do this? What are the specific activities it uses?
Right, it breaks the practice down into distinct parts. There's a clear sequence moving from simpler things to more complex words.
So part 1 is called Repeat After Me Daily English Phrases. Pretty self-explanatory.
The mechanics are simple. Host says something, listener repeats it. The script adds clearly and loudly.
Okay, clearly makes sense for pronunciation. Why loudly, do you think?
Well, speaking tentatively or mumbling is common when you lack confidence. Asking for loud repetition encourages more decisive articulation. It's also just physically engaging your vocal cords more actively.
Makes sense. And the script states the purpose here is to train your mouth and your ears at the same time.
Yeah, that's key. It's not just memorizing words, it's the physical act of shaping your mouth to make the sounds. That's the mouth training.
And the ear training is hearing the target sound clearly, then hearing yourself and starting to notice the difference.
Exactly. It's building that connection between what English sounds like and how to make it sound like that. Repetition is the core engine for that.
And the examples they give are interesting. We mentioned some already. Good morning, how are you today? I feel great. Basic interaction stuff.
But then there are others like, I want to learn English. I can speak English. I'm practicing every day. I believe in myself.
So they're weaving in those positive affirmations right into the basic repetition practice.
Yes. It's really clever. You're not just practicing sounds, you're literally practicing saying positive things about your learning journey in English.
So you're physically embodying that confidence goal while you're doing the basic mechanics.
Precisely. It's linguistic practice and psychological reinforcement all rolled into one simple exercise. Using English to shape your mindset about English.
Okay, so that's part 1. Repetition for mechanics and mindset. What comes next?
Part 2 shifts things up. It's called Think in English. This moves beyond pure repetition.
How does it work?
The host gives a sentence structure with a blank space like, my name is Puff, or I like to eat.
Okay. Fill in the blanks.
Right. And the listener's job is to complete it with their own idea, their own information.
Got it. And the stated purpose here is different too, isn't it?
Yes. The script says it's to guide the listener to think and speak in English with your own ideas, and then it adds this really important line.
Which is?
That's thinking in English, not translating. They explicitly call out the goal of avoiding translation.
Okay, that's a big one. Why is avoiding translation so important based on how they frame it?
Well, translating from your native language is often slow, right? You think the thought in language A, find the words, figure out the grammar in language B, then speak. It's cumbersome.
And can lead to unnatural phrasing too.
Exactly. So this fill-in-the-blank technique seems designed to short-circuit that process.
How so? How does filling in a blank help you think in English directly?
Because the basic English structure is already provided. I like to eat. Your brain doesn't have to build the sentence from scratch.
Right. The heavy lifting of grammar is done for you.
Yeah. Your only task is to access the specific piece of information needed, the food you like, and retrieve the English word for it. Pizza, apples, whatever.
So you're connecting the idea, the food, directly to the English word within an English structure.
That seems to be the goal. Repeatedly doing this with simple structures helps build those direct pathways in your brain, bypassing the detour through your native language for these basic expressions.
It's like building little islands of direct English thinking.
That's a nice way to put it, and it definitely builds on part 1. You've practiced the sound of simple structures, now you're using those structures to express your own simple ideas.
Moving from mimicry towards, well, a mini production.
Exactly. It's a very logical next step. Still low pressure, still using simple language, but now with a bit more active thought involved.
Okay, so after repeating and then filling in blanks, where does the script take the listener next?
Part 3 is called Real English Conversation Practice. This sounds like a bigger jump.
Yeah, real conversation sounds more complex. How does it work in the script?
It's actually a simulated dialogue. The host says they're part of a conversation, pauses, and the listener is meant to say their part, imagining they're talking face to face.
Okay, so like a role play with the audio, what kind of things do they talk about?
The examples given are basic conversational questions, drawing on the kind of info practiced in part 2. Hi, what's your name? Well, nice to meet you. Where are you from? What do you do every day? Do you like learning English?
Simple, personal Q&A stuff.
Right. And the script specifies the purpose is to practice a real conversation slowly. That word slowly seems important again.
Why practice it slowly? What does that achieve?
Real conversations can be fast. For a beginner, trying to listen, understand, think of a reply, and speak all in real time is incredibly demanding.
So slowing it down breaks that process apart.
Exactly. It gives you time. Time to hear the question, where are you from? Time to process it. Time to access the answer you practiced, I'm from your country. Time to formulate it in English, and time to actually say it out loud without feeling rushed or panicked.
So it's practicing the mechanics of a conversation. The turn-taking, the listening and responding without the pressure of speed.
Precisely. It simulates the structure of interaction. Question, pause, answer, question, pause, answer. It trains you to listen for a cue and then produce a relevant response using the simple language you've already worked on.
It's like training wheels for conversation.
That's a perfect analogy. You get the feel of the interaction pattern before you have to deal with the full speed and unpredictability of a real chat.
Okay, makes sense. What's after the slow conversation practice?
Part 4 introduces shadowing practice. This is a technique lots of language learners use.
Right, I've heard of shadowing. How does the script describe it?
It says to listen and copy the host's speech like an echo. And specifically, it instructs the listener to try and speak at the same time as the host.
Okay, speaking at the same time, that sounds tricky.
It can be, but it forces you to really focus on the rhythm and flow. The script provides example phrases for this too.
Let me guess, more positive learning affirmations.
You got it. Phrases like, I'm learning English. I speak a little English now. Every day I improve more. Speaking is fun. My English is getting better. Huh?
They are really consistent with weaving that positive mindset in. So you're echoing these positive phrases. Does it mention speed?
Yes, it mentions a progression. Practice slowly first, then try it faster, aiming for something like natural speech.
And the stated goal of this shadowing part.
The script says it's to help you sound more fluent.
Okay, so how does echoing someone, especially trying to speak with them, actually make you sound more fluent, according to this?
Fluency isn't just about knowing words. It's hugely about prosody, the rhythm, the stress patterns, the intonation, the melody of the language.
The music of English, you could say.
Exactly. When you shadow, and especially when you try to speak simultaneously, you're forced to mimic that music. You have to match the speaker's timing, their pauses, where they put the emphasis.
So it's training your mouth to move in that English rhythm.
Yes, and your vocal cords too. It helps you get the feel for connected speech, how words link together rather than saying each word separately like you might if you were translating. Practicing slowly lets you capture the pattern, and speeding up helps you automate it.
So it's less about individual sounds, maybe, and more about the overall flow and cadence.
It helps with both, but the big win for fluency here is probably that natural rhythm and intonation. It makes your speech sound less hesitant, less foreign, even if your grammar isn't perfect yet. It's training the ear-mouth connection for the sound envelope of the language.
Interesting. Okay, that's 4 parts down. Is there a part 5?
There is. The final practice type described as part 5. Say it with feeling.
Ah, okay. Moving beyond just the mechanics and rhythm.
Exactly. This part is about practicing saying phrases with deliberate emotion in your voice.
How does that work? What are the examples?
The script pairs emotions with simple phrases, like say, I'm so excited, but say it happily. Say, I feel a little tired, but sound sad or weary.
Okay, so consciously modulating your voice. What other examples?
Surprise. Yeah. Really? Wow. Confident. I can do this. Relaxed. Everything's okay.
So it's acting, almost.
A little bit, yeah. And the stated purpose is interesting. Great pronunciation practice. And also key for sounding natural.
How does adding emotion help with pronunciation and sounding natural based on the script's logic?
Well, the script makes this great point. English is not just words, it's emotion too. Real communication is full of feeling, right? The way we say things conveys so much meaning.
Sure. Really can mean totally different things depending on how you say it.
Exactly. And physically, Expressing emotion changes how we speak. Pitch goes up when we're excited, pace might slow when we're sad, certain words get stressed differently.
So practicing this forces you to play with those features, pitch, pace, stress, in a way that just repeating neutrally wouldn't.
Precisely. It moves beyond just getting the basic sounds right to understanding how those sounds are modulated in real expressive speech. It connects the language to human feeling, making it feel more alive and helping you sound less robotic, more natural when you actually use it.
It's about adding the paralinguistic layer, the stuff beyond the words themselves.
Yeah, exactly that. It rounds out the practice, moving towards more holistic communication.
Okay, so that's the 5-part practice sequence. Repeat, think, fill in, simulate conversation, slowly, shadow, add emotion. What happens after that in the script? Does it just end?
No, there's a wrap-up section. It includes a review and then gives some specific homework.
A review of what they just did.
Yeah, it explicitly lists the activities. You repeated phrases, you answered questions, you shadowed my voice, you practiced real conversation, you used emotion, just to reinforce the steps they took.
Locking it in. And then you said homework.
Yes, but before the homework, it offers this really concise mantra for learning fast based on everything they just did.
Oh, what's the mantra?
4 words. Speak, listen, repeat. Every day.
Speak.
Yeah.
Listen. Repeat every day. That pretty much sums up the whole approach we've been discussing, doesn't it?
It really does. Speak. Active output is central. Listen. Crucial for input and modeling. Repeat. The engine for practice and reinforcement. Every day. Consistency is key. It's simple, memorable, actionable.
So what specific homework does it suggest based on that mantra?
It gives 4 concrete suggestions.
Listen to this episode again tomorrow. That's listen and repeat.
Okay, emphasizing spaced repetition.
Second, practice out loud with me. That's speak and repeat, reinforcing the active practice.
Makes sense. What else?
Third, record yourself speaking on your phone. This is a big one.
Why is recording yourself so important in this method?
It links directly back to listen. But now you're listening critically to yourself. It provides objective feedback. You can hear your pronunciation, your pace, your intonation, maybe compared to the host's version. It's a powerful tool for self-assessment and identifying areas you need to. Well, repeat more.
So it closes the loop speak, then listen to yourself, then repeat refine.
Exactly. And the 4th piece of homework.
Go on.
Say this every day. I speak English with confidence.
Back to the mindset. Directly reinforcing that confidence goal again, using the language itself.
Absolutely. So the homework combines reinforcing the practice, listen again, practice again, adding self-monitoring, record yourself, and actively building that positive self-belief. It's all very integrated.
It really paints a picture of learning not just as doing one lesson, but as building a consistent daily habit.
Definitely. The emphasis is clearly on regular, active engagement with the material and with your own progress.
So if we synthesize this whole approach just based on what's in this script, what's the overall picture?
It looks like a carefully structured progression, starting very simply and building up.
Right. From just making sounds correctly through repetition.
To using those sounds and simple structures to express your own ideas.
Then practicing the back and forth of conversation, but slowly.
Then refining the flow and rhythm through shadowing.
And finally, adding that layer of natural human expression with emotion.
It's a step-by-step process designed to get beginners speaking right away using accessible language in a way that feels safe and builds confidence along the way.
And the core message seems to be about consistent, active work, doing these varied, simple techniques regularly.
Yes. It suggests that for a beginner, maybe the most important things are just starting to speak, doing it consistently, and believing you can improve, overcoming that initial hurdle.
It's a very practical, hands-on approach presented in the script. Less theory, more doing.
Exactly. It provides a clear blueprint for how someone could structure their own initial speaking practice, focusing on manageable steps and positive reinforcement.
This deep dive into just this one script has been quite revealing, actually, seeing how the different pieces are designed to fit together.
It really shows the thought that can go into designing even seemingly simple language practice materials. The focus on psychology, the structured progression, the specific techniques. It all serves a purpose.
We've traced that path from basic repetition right through to practicing emotional expression, all aimed at those core goals. Speak, listen, and feel more confident.
And that emphasis on removing pressure, on daily practice, on positive self-talk, it all points towards making language learning a sustainable habit, not just a one-off effort.
So let's leave you, our listener, with a final thought, drawing directly from what we've unpacked today from this Fluent Flow script.
The script presents this idea that consistent, simple, out-loud practice, guided step by step and focused on building confidence, is the key to learning fast, especially at the beginning.
So the question for you is, reflecting on that, what's one small step? Maybe using one of the techniques we discussed, like repeating a phrase or shadowing, or even just saying that confidence affirmation. What small step could you take today to bring more active speaking into your own learning?
Remember that mantra: speak, listen, repeat, every day. Even a tiny step counts towards building that habit. Which one feels doable for you right now?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope exploring this specific script's methodology has given you some useful insights, whatever stage you're at.
Absolutely. Keep exploring, keep practicing, keep speaking.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.